Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today in the private group we're going to talk about where XRP has been and where I think it's going. You'll find this little thing interesting. Before we get going, if you want to join the group, you go to daixrp.com, or you can click join right here if you want to join through the YouTube instead. A lot of drama going on, folks. This CEDAS has released an official statement. As of earlier today, we've confirmed that an attacker has stolen approximately $223 million from the CEDAS protocol. We've taken immediate action, and it says down here they're working with the SUI Foundation, or the SUI Foundation. And I showed here, it says all coins on SUI just rugged drained. Hope many of you didn't get hurt. And I said, are you noticing a pattern? I've been watching this stuff for years. And these massive hacks just keep taking place on these blockchains where there's massive creation of all these random clown coins, I'll call them, whatever you want to call them. Not a coincidence, folks. Not a lot of transparency either. I'm done with all the hack business. That's why I affiliated with Caleb and Brown. And that's why you can go to XRPWealth589.com to click the sign up today button on my Caleb and Brown page so that you can have institutional grade custody and quit worrying about all this stuff. You can also get institutional grade liquidity so that you can execute your exit strategy, and you can actually have someone you can talk to about it and talk to when the market takes off instead of your exchange freezing up. Go to XRPWealth589.com. 7 days until XRP Las Vegas. Get your tickets. Brad Garlinghouse is surprised. He can't believe it either. XRPLasVegas.com to get your tickets. I even invited Senator Cynthia Loomis. She says, happy Bitcoin Pizza Day to all who celebrate. Look forward to Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas next week. Who's going to be there? And I said, come to XRP Las Vegas, Senator Loomis, and we can talk about putting Bitcoin on the XRP ledger to solve its scalability, speed, and cost problems. I'm sure she wants to have that conversation, right? The market, we've got a 243 XRP. We've got Bitcoin back over 111,000. I'm all for it. Bring on the liquidity. Now, I've been telling you this for years. We have not had a level playing field. Bitcoin has had a regulatory monopoly. Even Gary Gensler didn't go after Bitcoin. They would have you believe that they were under attack too, but they never were. And you're not going to see what the real market is, the real free market is, till after regulations when there's a level regulatory playing field. Here's Modern Investor talking about it.
2016, 17, 18, when Gary Gensler used to work at MIT, he used to talk about Bitcoin like it was magic. He used to be like, I know because this, we have this, and Bitcoin is so important. And I was like, okay, so when he becomes the head of the SEC, sky's the limit. Nope, it was the exact opposite. And it's because he did exactly what a maximalist would do, basically ignoring other coins, not giving, regulations for them. Do you remember Gary Gensler only said Bitcoin is the only non-security? He said that every other coin is a security in his eyes except for Bitcoin. Maximalist. The other members of the SEC had to vote and come forward to say that Ethereum also wasn't a security, which apparently we also heard from, what's this woman's name? I almost said Rosalie. Who's Rosalie? The Hester Pierce. Hester Pierce also came forward and said that was a struggle behind the scenes because he probably didn't want to give any attention or any light to any other altcoin. Isn't it all making sense now? I drop this last bit. The only other most popular coin, XRP, had a lawsuit against them that he did not lift. XRP has been noted multiple times. Hear me out here. XRP has been noted multiple times that mathematically, if there could be a coin that could take over, this is hypothetical, could take over Bitcoin, it would be XRP. Why do you think it took so long for the lawsuit? Everything lines up. Everything really lines up. It's weird.
Yes, it does. I believe XRP will pass Bitcoin. I also believe, like I've told you since the inception of this channel, that crypto is the asset class that's going to swallow all other asset classes because it's going to tokenize all other asset classes. Here's an example of it. Kraken plans to allow non-US customers to trade Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, and other popular stocks as tokens over a digital ledger. How about them apples, folks? This is how I hope this plays out. Crypto Bull put this out. So we came out of April, May, we're at May 22nd right now, and we're starting to see things rumble. And I believe that June through July is going to be really cool. I believe that those are the months. I think there's a good chance you do have a pullback around August. It's going to be fun to watch. President Trump is hosting a meme coin dinner for his top 220 Trump meme coin holders. The top 25 wallets will get a VIP White House tour. So I'm like a lot of you, I love what Trump's doing in all aspects, but I don't like the meme coin stuff. I think that this was an unnecessary distraction. If they wanted to do a meme coin, I think they should have done it after we got regulations at a minimum. I don't like it, and it sets this kind of stuff up. Democrats from the House and Senate, and this hurts the whole push for regulations when they're able to go and highlight this kind of stuff. Democrats from the House and Senate are planning to hold events ahead of the U.S. President Donald Trump's meme coin dinner, highlighting concerns about corruption tomorrow. It also highlights something else we've seen over and over, which I do like. Trump just doesn't give an F. And I think that's part of the recipe for his success. Here is this, I can't remember the name. This is Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott, talking about the stablecoin legislation.
Real quick, I know you're paving the way for historic digital asset legislation, the Genius Act. You're the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, and I want to get your take on the importance of this. What can you tell us about the Genius Act and how this will impact financial services?
Well, for single moms like the one that raised me, we're talking about reducing the price and democratizing our economy. Great news. President Trump simply said on the campaign trail, America will be the crypto capital of the world. This may be a major part of his legacy when we make it easier for the struggling Americans working paycheck to paycheck to have more access at a lower price point. Stablecoins in the Genius Act is a first step, historic step, towards making America more affordable for everyday Americans. It's another great reason this is a good day in America.
And it also feels like the banks are finally, caving on this. They didn't really want the competition, did they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody hates competition when you have a monopoly. And the one thing we'll say about the banks is they came to the table. We worked constructively. There are some parts of the bill that eliminates it.
He just described Bitcoin, the Bitcoin monopoly. That's why they hate competition. They're scared most of XRP. That's why they hate it.
Possibility of yield and interest. That was a key component of getting the banks to be neutral on the bill. But this bill must go forward because it's good news for the American people, especially ones living in poverty.
All right.
Okay, and then here's Shady Anthony Scaramucci talking about stablecoins.
Feels like that is the next sort of place this all moves.
Well, so I'm a big fan of stable coins. I think that you'll lower the cost of transactions globally, and you'll help the unbanked, Andrew, with the advent and the proliferation of stable coins. I also think it helps dollar supremacy, because if you look at these stablecoin companies, whether it's Circle or Tether, or you pick other stablecoin companies that are growing, in their reserves, they own a lot of U.S. dollar-denominated assets, specifically U.S. Treasury. I think Tether, I think it was reported that they own more treasuries than Germany or Japan in terms of the inventory of treasuries on their balance sheet. So to me, the legislation is going to allow us to increase that. I think that's better for the dollar, but I also think at some point you'll come to the Hunt and Fish Club, you'll pay with a stable coin, and you'll avoid the 3.5% credit card fee. And I think that's sorely overdue. I mean, there's approximately $7 trillion of money that's spent globally on verification of transactions, which includes credit card fees, wiring fees, all these different things that we're using. And if you can cut that down using stablecoins, using the blockchain, I think we should be doing that. And I will applaud the administration for wanting to advance that. The last administration, they were making specious arguments about why we shouldn't advance that. And so I do give the administration credit for wanting to make this technology stick here in the United States to enable the United States to maintain its mantle of financial services leadership.
And then finally, Anthony, if you were going to play the stablecoin, what's the investment there?
Well, listen, I will fully disclose, I own a piece of Circle. I'm a big fan of Jeremy and his business. I'm a big fan of that management team. We had his colleague Dante at our Bermuda conference 2 weeks ago. These guys do a brilliant job, and they're regulatorily tight. I think Tether will also enter the United States at some point, and I think those are the two formidable ones. But
after an audit, maybe. Okay, and then Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan, who is going to be at XRP Las Vegas, says approval of U.S. stablecoin bill could be one of the most important regulatory developments in the history of crypto. You got that right. And then Eleanor Terrett, just in Representative French Hill sets markup date for House crypto market structure bill on June 10th. I'm telling you, folks, you can feel it. June and July are going to be epic. This is the second one in 2 days, I think. Braza Group's new USD-backed stablecoin, USDB, is launching on the XRP ledger. More liquidity, folks, giving individuals and institutions seamless and secure way to move value across borders. With both USDB and BBRL on the XRP ledger, Braza is creating a scalable bridge between traditional finance and crypto in Latin America. Check this out from eGrag Crypto. He's talking about Bitcoin to 175,000. He said the same logic applies to XRP. XRP topped 330, so a 10-time move suggests it could reach $33. That's why my conservative target of 27 is realistic based on 2017, 2018 10x theory. More on that in the group. So let's leave you here. I'm going to talk about where we've been and where I think we're going with XRP price. If you want to join the group, go to daixrp.com to join the Patreon, or click the join button right below any of my YouTube videos, and you can join through YouTube if you'd prefer. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.